I have missed you guys. We are back for another season of Candid Conversation with Charisa. I am your girl, your friend, your coach, your trainer, Charisa Monroe Wilborn, and I am excited to be bringing to you season 7. And guess what? We are continuing to bring you real, to bring you raw, to bring you deep truths about life, about family, about fun, about relationships, leadership, and purpose. And I get to do what I love best, answer your questions. You, my community, have been rocking with me for some time. And I want you to know that I see you. I want you to know that I hear you. And I want you to know that I understand you. You are not alone. So the questions you have, if I can answer them, if I can help inspire and motivate you, that's why I am here. So make sure you are watching Candid Conversations with Charisa every week for the next few weeks, just in case I am answering your question, or just in case I'm answering a question you didn't think you needed the answer to. Make sure you grab a friend, make sure you grab a family member, pen and paper, take notes, whatever you do to get your transformation and your breakthrough right here on this season of Candid Conversation with Charisa. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. See you soon. Another beautiful question from some great human beings. How to practice self-leadership. One of my greatest topics. I love talking about leadership, and then when you make it about self, I love personal development. And so I'm glad I'm getting to discuss. We're going to do more than just talk about. We're going to discuss this question. We're going to discuss the topic of self-leadership and why it is so important. And I don't think people talk about self-leadership enough. We talk about leadership as a whole. When we think about leading from our area of gifting, when we talk about leading others that may follow us, but we never talk about leading of self. And the other word that we can use is the governing of self or the management of self. True leadership of others starts with being able to first lead, manage, and control yourself. And it's one of the things that we don't like to hear. We don't like to talk about. We don't like to think about having to manage our own thoughts, our own emotions, having to keep our bodies in check, keep our minds in check, keep our appetites in check. We don't think about the fact that sometimes we can control our own responses as opposed to pointing and blaming others. And so when you think about self-leadership, I'm grateful for the question of how do you practice self-leadership? And I think the word I want to focus on for a little bit is practice. Because when you think about practice, practice means that you are practicing to create progress, not practicing to create perfection. We're not looking to perfect anything. I learned from my coach, when you're practicing, think about practicing a sport. Like you're practicing to make progress in what you couldn't do before. And every time you make progress and you do something better, like you're practicing to get better at that thing, not perfection. And so we're practicing at making the progress of making sure that we are always managing and controlling ourselves. And self-leadership most times is going to begin with self-knowledge. That is the foundation. And when you think about other relationships in your life, and you may wonder why they aren't going well, why are they so dysfunctional? What knowledge do you have of yourself? Self-knowledge is the key to all your relationships. And I'm talking about self-knowledge to include the understanding of yourself, the like and loving of yourself. How well do you know yourself, and how well do you trust yourself? Sometimes we don't trust others. We may have trust issues, heard that, of males or females. We don't trust mothers, we don't trust fathers, we don't trust friends, we don't trust coworkers. If you were to really get down to the root and the cause of your trust issues, you'll find that you haven't trusted yourself for a long time. You haven't trusted that you can make great decisions. You haven't trusted that you won't allow yourself to be hurt again. You haven't trusted that you know you well enough that if you said no, you can stand on that no. And if you said yes, you can stand on that yes. But when you start to know yourself, your relationships become more functional. your relationships become stronger because the relationship with yourself is stable and is stronger. So you want to know yourself. You want to understand yourself. You want to like yourself, and then you want to trust yourself. When you're able to do all those things, then you can start to control everything about you. You can start to lead you. You can start to assess, how are you with time? What are your habits? What current habits you have that you can exchange for better habits that are going to serve you better? What results are you trying to get to that you need to reassess and readjust? What is it that you need to manage, and what is it that you need to control? Are you able to say no to yourself for yourself? Are you able to say yes for yourself to yourself? Or is somebody else still having to force you, manipulate you, or make you do things that you either A, don't want to do, or 2, should be doing? So before you can think about leading other people, before you can think about leading a team, before you could even think about leading people that want to follow you, are you interested and willing and able to lead yourself? Are you able to say, I need to first check me. The reason why I'm feeling this way based on a response is because of something going on with me. Am I willing to do the work? Am I willing to take the step? Am I willing to make the change? Am I willing to assess? Am I willing to evaluate? Am I willing to adjust? Can I commit to consistency? Can I commit to discipline? The very same thing that you as a coach, a teacher, a trainer, a professor, a leader, an entrepreneur, a CEO, a president, the same thing that you as a leader are telling others to do. Are you doing it yourself first? Are you telling it to yourself first? Are you actually going along and following through with it first? Are you only taking people as far as you're willing to go or have gone yet? That is true leadership, and that is true self-leadership. When you're able to have gone first, when you're able to have experienced first, are you willing and able to commit to the discipline and the consistency and all the things that you encourage other people to do? If you can say yes, then you get to now start practicing self-leadership. Are you willing to serve you first? Or are you so busy wanting to serve others in order to take the spotlight off of you? It's okay for you to be chosen. It's okay for you to be shining bright and smiling. It's okay for you to get all of your flowers and celebrations now. It's okay for you as a leader to be able to see that and receive that before you start giving that out to other people. But you have to be able to manage your emotions. You have to be able to manage your fears. You have to be able to manage your idiosyncrasies. You have to be able to manage the nuances of your behaviors. And in order to manage that, what do you have to do? Understand yourself, know yourself, love yourself, and trust yourself. That's the only way that you get to be able to control and manage yourself first, before you can now say, please come and follow me. And when you think about, when we look in society and we look at a lot of the social decay that we are looking at as a whole is just the lack of self-leadership in everybody that we see. So imagine if we all, because when you're looking at the social decay, you're just looking at other people. When you look at everybody, imagine if everybody was able to have self-discipline and have self-leadership and self-governance. We won't be looking at social decay anymore. We would now be looking at true social development, social up-level, social growth, if we are all able to manage our self-leadership. But when we fall and we lack self-leadership, we're not able to control ourselves, we're not able to assess for ourselves, we're not able to even know truly who we are and whose we are, why we are and what we can do, where we want to go and how far we can get there. If we're not able to do all of that for ourselves, it's going to be difficult. Actually, it may be easy to say, come follow me, but now you will have blind leading the blind. Why not have two perfectly fine people that can see? One says, you know what, my eyes are wide open. I want to follow you because I know that you've seen and experienced more than I have. Please take me with you. And because I get to observe your life, people can look at your life and see, wow, she's well managed. She's well governed. People are going to know by your decisions, he is well governed. He's well managed. They're going to look at your results in your life. He is well, or they're going to look at it and say, how you want me to follow you? And your life is no illustration of what I want and the desires and the results that I want. But if you want others to follow you, let your life be living. Let your life be a perfect example. Let your life be a beautiful photo and picture to them of, man, how did you get there? How do I get that? Please tell me. Internal leadership determines your external leadership. Internal leadership, the work you do on the inside, who you are on the inside, who you are internally, behind closed doors, who you are in the dark, who you are to yourself, that's going to determine what you are and who you are to everybody else. In the communities, to your friends, to your family, to yourself. Like that's going to determine the relationships and associations and the acquaintances, but also those that follow you. It's going to determine the extent of where you go. It's also ultimately going to determine the legacy that you build, the legacy that you get to leave behind. People are going to remember how well you managed yourself. They're going to know based on the results, based on the life you live, how well you managed your thoughts, how well you manage your reactions and your responses. They're going to be able to say, man, I really followed her from afar or up close because you were well managed and well governed. So 3 things you want to do when you think about practicing self-leadership. 1, practice control. I've been talking about it for the last 10 minutes. Control, control, control. And I want you to own it. Take back the control that you've given to somebody else and start learning how to control yourself, your emotions, your appetites, your responses, your reactions, what comes out of your mouth, your thoughts, your feelings. Learn and practice to control that for yourself. Secondly, practice management. If you want something to grow, up your management and watch. When you think about, I think about the garden. I think about the world before God really brought order to it. And when you think about the fact that there were just shrubs and bushes everywhere, if you were to actually manage it, if there was someone here to manage the earth, if you were to water it, if God did allow rain to come, the reason why he couldn't allow rain to come was because there wasn't anyone to cultivate and manage the earth. But if you want more in your life, if you want more possibilities, if you want more abundance, you have to be willing to also manage what you already have, or be available and capable to manage what's going to come. There's no way that you have a bank account that can only accept a maximum of $1,000, maximum, but yet you want to be a millionaire. There is no way. Your account can't even afford to hold $1 million, but yet you want $1 million. You want $1 million. Your account can't hold $1 million. You know that. So even though you want that, your actions are not going to be that of, I want $1 million. Your habits are not going to be of, I want $1 million. What comes out of your mouth are not going to be, I want $1 million. It's actually going to be, I want $1 million, but I can't hold it. So everything that you say, everything that you do in between those 2 desires is actually going to be, but I can't hold, my account can't hold $1 million. So yeah, you're going to say, I want $1 million, but just give me 99. I want $1 million, but just give me 10. I want $1 million, but just give me 700 because that's all I can hold. Versus allowing yourself to be in a place of better management, changing your account and getting an account with no limits. And then watch your attitude, watch your actions, watch your behaviors now be that of, please give me $2 million. Please give me $5 million. Why? Because you know that your bank account can control. can actually hold, can withstand. You can now manage over, above, and beyond you can even think or imagine. So you see how all of these things line up, how important management is, especially when you look at where you really and truly want to get to and the possibilities that you actually want to bring into your life. And lastly, you want to practice accountability. One of the things that we don't like to do. We don't want to have to hold ourselves accountable. We definitely don't want anybody else to be accountable to us. Why? Because that means we're going to have to watch our behavior. We're going to have to watch our decisions. We're going to have to manage and make sure that we are actually doing what we say we're going to do, that we actually are speaking truthfully about ourselves and our circumstances. But holding yourself accountable does not have to be a bad thing. It's actually you allowing yourself to be held accountable by someone else to make sure that you actually do and become what you say you want to do and become. And you get to be accountable to yourself. If you have goals that you want to reach and there's a timeline on them, or you have things that you want to get rid of or something you want to change in your life, imagine your accountability person saying, remember, I know you've been doing it for 50 years, but you want something new. Let's try something else. Or they remind you of what you said, or they are there to say, don't do that. That doesn't align with who you want to become. Forget where you are now. Where are you trying to get to? So self-leadership, let's go over that again. Practice 1, self-control, self-management, and practice accountability for yourself and allowing others to hold you accountable. If you want to be a true leader and you want to have people truly and authentically following you, make sure that you are first handling yourself in a way of governance, in a way of management, in a way of self-leadership. If you want to see your leadership grow based on the people that you get to influence and that say, we want her to be our leader, up your self-leadership and watch your life be perfect. Watch your life be to the ends of the earth what God created you to be. See you soon. You've just watched yet another inspiring, transformational episode of Candid Conversations with Charisa. And I hope that the principles and concepts in the episode are some that encourage you to take actionable steps to change and transform your life today. Don't be stingy. Make sure you are sharing and liking what you are hearing so that others can be a part of this community too. Make sure you are back here next week for another great episode of Candid Conversations with Charisa. See you next time.